A.J. Drexel was a banker at a time of enormous financial growth for Philadelphia and for the nation. He was looking for things to spend that money on that he thought could be for the betterment of his community. When Drexel was founded in 1891, Anthony Drexel decides he doesn't want to put his institute out in leafy suburbs of Philadelphia, but he wants to put it right in the center of the industrial action. It was a very unique institution for its time, in part because it was not originally founded as a degree-granting educational institution, but it was an institute of art, science, and industry. The institute grew out of Anthony Joseph Drexel's idea that education needed to be available to a much wider population of people than it had been available to up to that point. He had from the beginning the idea that it would be an open admissions kind of atmosphere where women and men, black and white, people of all religious backgrounds would be welcome. He was imagining education as a tool of social uplift. A.J. Drexel imagined that the world would change, and so the Drexel Institute should change with it. In its 125-year history, Drexel's invention and reinvention has been remarkable. It's always been an institution that's reinvented itself to meet society's needs. Founded first as an institute open to everyone without any particular degree-granting focus, it transformed itself by the 1920s into one of the most important engineering education centers in the United States. At the end of World War I, Drexel established itself as a leader in a new form of education, cooperative education. Cooperative learning was first introduced at Drexel in 1919, and it was a direct result of the Institute providing education and government service during World War I. It was an understanding that engineering students needed to have some time in the classroom, but also on the job site. And so it's developing a relationship between learning in the classroom and applied learning, and that's a really important relationship. As we move into the 50s and 60s, the new emphasis on research and graduate training comes directly out of the Cold War period. So as scientific research and electrical engineering became important, Drexel was right there, once again, to turn out graduates who were ready to help shape that industry. But the idea that it could be more than just that was very much alive in the 50s and 60s. In 1970, Drexel Institute becomes Drexel University. And so that meant putting new emphasis on building labs and recruiting faculty who could actually contribute original research. The other thing that a university does is training in areas that go beyond science and technology. And that really helped us see a sort of turning point from 1970 forward, where the modern Drexel University as we know it today begins to take shape. One of the defining aspects of Drexel's history has been its capacity to reinvent itself over time. And what causes these reinventions? The larger economic needs of the Philadelphia region has been a really important way to understand how Drexel has changed over time. In this way, we can say that the university is trying to stay one step ahead of the marketplace, one step ahead of technological change. In 1984, it was the first university to require personal computers for every student. This led to a unique relationship with Apple Computer, and Apple actually brought the Macintosh to campus. Drexel students were among the only college students in America to have these personal computers in the dorm rooms. Starting in the mid-1990s, at a time when the internet was still something that was fascinating to most people, but not really something that was practical, Drexel actually started to move its curriculum online. Drexel has continued to be an innovator and a leader in that part of the education market. One of the most important aspects of Drexel becoming a full-fledged university was the creation of the Drexel University College of Medicine. Also, the creation of the College of Nursing and Health Professions and the Dornsife School of Public Health, which were actually created out of two heritage medical universities, the Hahnemann University and the Medical College of Pennsylvania, both of which have histories going back into the 19th century. So something which looks very new to us today actually has deep historical roots in the history of medical education in Philadelphia. Drexel founded a law school in 2006. It was the first law school to be founded at a major research institute in 25 years. Like the other programs at Drexel, it takes advantage of the co-op model. So Klein School of Law students are not only in the classroom, but they're also learning on the job. So even though the purview of the university is broadening, it's pretty clear that cooperative education is still the DNA of Drexel University.
Another fundamental aspect of Drexel University is its role as a pioneer in research. In 2011, the Academy of Natural Sciences, which is the oldest natural sciences institution in the United States, became part of Drexel University. This historic union provides unprecedented access to one of the world's most extraordinary science collections.
And so now the question becomes, how can Drexel transition to meet the needs of society today? And I think as we look at the demands of the economy in the region, in medicine, in pharmaceuticals, in services, we can find that Drexel is once again working to meet those needs. It's always been a place focused on Philadelphia, but now more and more that focus is on the rest of the world. Today, the Drexel campus extends well beyond the walls of the university. Drexel students can take advantage of the Office of International Programs, including study abroad opportunities, as well as the Co-op Abroad program. In recent decades, Drexel has expanded its reach to include partnerships with many institutions around the world. Drexel faculty and students are partnering with peers at institutions from Sao Paulo to Shanghai, Tel Aviv to London. No discussion of Drexel history would be complete without a look at the history of Drexel sports. We know that Drexel teams by 1896 and 1897 were already competing, both men and women. Student life is clearly a central part of the Drexel University experience. The university has over 400 clubs and associations for students. Greek life has been an important aspect of the Drexel experience going back to the very early days of the Institute's history. It was the Greek system that provided housing for students in those early days when Drexel was primarily a commuter school. Since 2000, I think we can see that the university is in the midst of yet another reinvention, and this time it's around civic engagement. The neighborhoods that are to the north of Drexel have experienced economic distress over the last few decades. Since 2010, there's been a new commitment to civic engagement, and that can be seen in things like the creation of the Lindy Center, the Dornsife Center, and the Innovation Neighborhood, which are all sort of recent developments to go into the neighborhood and work with community residents and businesses in the neighborhood to try to make their experiences, their lives better, their institutions stronger by way of making Drexel stronger. One of the most interesting places we can look to find the extension of A.J. Drexel's vision is in the Innovation Neighborhood and Schuylkill Yards development, which is taking place right around the 30th Street Station. And so here we have a mixed-use neighborhood that's going to be an extension of the campus, but also space for research labs and even incubators for new businesses to take shape, along with all the amenities of urban life. So people are going to live there, people are going to shop there, there's going to be a park there. So it's not only expanding the physical footprint of the university, but also expanding the capacity of the university to be a leader in cutting-edge research and then in taking that research into the marketplace. And I think that's really what the innovation in the Innovation Neighborhood is about. The neighborhood part is also a really important aspect of it. And so Schuylkill Yards is where the neighborhood will take shape. Looking back across its history, it's pretty clear. Drexel students and Drexel faculty have never been interested in the status quo. This has always been an institution that has inspired students to look ahead, to try to solve the challenges that society faces in technology, in medicine, in democracy, in business. Drexel students are leaders, and they will continue to be as we go further into the 21st century.